Hi, Sandy here. I've done a few videos on making some pages for my scrapbook, my 2018 Vacation Scrapbook, and I finally finished it. It came out to 306 pages. That's the biggest vacation scrapbook I have ever done. And it wouldn't all fit in one book, so I made two books. If you've seen my videos before, I only do 8.5 by 11 pages. I keep the pages kind of simple. I had over 650 photos. So I do 8.5 by 11 pages. I use regular page protectors from Office Max, and I use regular binders. So this is book 1. We went to Seattle. We drove from Omaha to Seattle. 2-day drive. Spent the night in Montana. And then we spent 5 nights in Seattle. So I wrote Seattle here in Sharpie. And then after that we went to Seaside in San Francisco. But because Seattle is in this book, I wrote that in Sharpie and the others in this one. And then this is the spine. I hope that's not too close to the camera. That's the spine of the book, book 1. And I actually used, I had an old road atlas. So I used a page of the road atlas. This is Washington with Seattle. And then this is book 2. We had already been to Seattle, so that's in just regular pen. Then we spent 2 nights in Seaside, Oregon, and well, we spent in Cannon Beach, which is near Seaside, and we visited Seaside, and then 4 nights in San Francisco, and then 2 days driving home, and we spent the night in Wyoming, and we drove over 4,200 miles round trip. And we prefer to do that over driving. So here's the spine to book 2. I hope there's not glare. You know, these office binders come with this pocket, so you can create a custom page and slip it in the pocket in the side. And most of them have the pocket on the back as well. Not all of them do, but most of them do. I'll show you. Well, let me show you how thick this is. This is book 2. And I weighed this too. It's like 18 pounds. My scale wasn't working quite right, but I'm pretty sure it was like 18 pounds. So look how thick that is. It's over 8 inches thick. And these tabs are day 1, 2, 3, 4, day by day, and what we did each day. Like this day we did a lot. And then these tabs, I hope they're in view, are the different places we went and things we did. And I'll just briefly show you a little bit of it. Like this is a red section. Well, okay, well here's day 11. I've got a pink section, and I just start with, I don't get my pages too complicated. So we went and visited the Painted Ladies on Alamo Square, the famous Victorian houses. So all of those, I use pink background paper. And I like to mat my photos, but there's usually not room. This is a postcard. This is 3 photos. They're too tall to fit on here, so I always crop them down. And then I usually end up with a built-in border around them. And then I used scrapbooking paper on the side. And then I had this tag that I had made with a Victorian house on it, so I put that on there. So, and then we went to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in San Francisco. And I used red paper for that. And I downloaded pictures of some of the people in the pictures, the wax figures, and just added those to my page. And I just used red background and ended up with my built-in borders. Hope that's not out of camera range. And then I added some red striped paper to several pages and a photo or something that I downloaded. And there's 19 pages of the Wax Museum visit. They're really pretty basic, and I do a lot of the same layouts over and over again. I don't get real complicated. And what I started out by laying several sheets of this red paper out on a table, and then laying out the photos and the things that I wanted on the pages. On the pages, and then I glued them together, and then wrote in the details and stuff, added some details, and I videotaped myself gluing these 19 pages together, and it took me less than an hour. 19 pages in less than an hour. And just so happens everyone in this, almost every page in the Wax Museum section have the same layout. I do this layout a lot. And I save my brochures, and I just slit the paper a little bit, and I tie a ribbon around them so that I can pull it out and look at it and put it back if I want to, the brochures. Of course, I glued on my photos. And we went to Ripley's Museum, and I didn't get real fancy with this. I just got some a couple of sheets of this print of paper and decorated the pages and put them on yellow background, and I wrote, this sign is made of cardboard, this is the Golden Gate Bridge made of toothpicks. So that's just some of my pages. This layout I do a lot of, the 3 photos, and then I like to make a lot of borders, but I didn't really have one appropriate for this page. But I had made this tag with before my vacation with the seals from Pier 39 in Seattle, so I put that on there. But it took me just over 3 weeks to do it, and I didn't work on it every day, but I did work on it a lot. Then my final page, I listed everywhere we stopped for gas and what states. We paid $2.73 back when we got back to Nebraska per gallon, and in California we paid $3.69, $3.81. Nevada was still up there, $3.69, and I totaled we spent $149.52. No. We bought 149.5 gallons of gas, and we spent $540.38 on gas, and we drove 4,295 miles, and it came to 12.58 cents per mile. And I usually figure how many miles per gallon, but I forgot to do that, but I can still do that. And then I saved all my gas receipts, and I added a little pocket that I had here and just slid them into that pocket in case I want to look at my gas receipts. And then this last page, when we were on vacation, every day I wrote down everything we did for the day. Like the first day, and I wrote down we drove 846 miles. The next day we drove 834 miles. And then things we did, the Space Needle, the Pacific Science Center, Pike Place Market, and so on. And then I also have lists of here of all the money that we spent. And the West Coast is freaking expensive compared to the Midwest. The gas is expensive. The motels were crazy expensive. We paid over $200 a night to stay in San Francisco. It was near the ocean, but it was cold and we couldn't swim or really go in the ocean, and it was June. It was cold, and it was a rundown area, and the motel was run down. Over $200 a night. So that's a quick look at my vacation scrapbook, and I put the maps in here on a page. Oh, and the beginning of every day I made a list. They're different on every day, but I wrote the dates. And day 7, Friday, I drove from Seattle to Cannon Beach, 220 miles from Seattle to Cannon Beach, and the things we did that day. So that's my vacation scrapbook. This video was going to be about me playing with my borders, But I spent a lot of time on my vacation scrapbook. I hope you enjoy that. So my 3 weeks I worked on that, I was missing making my tags and borders. I have this box. Of course, I only do 8.5 by 11 pages, so whenever I use print paper, I buy 8.5 by 11 paper, solid color paper for the backgrounds of most of my sheets. But sometimes I use a print paper, and then I trim down the side and the top, and I end up with all of these strips. Plus I buy things, and I end up with things like this, and those are borders. So I put those in there, and I have this thick piece of cardboard for green, and then for each color I have a folded piece of paper with all of my strips of that color. That's only my long strips that are at least 11 inches long, because my pages are 8.5 by 11. And this is how I keep my scraps. I have this basket. Dollar Tree has them for $1. I sanded the plastic to rough it up a little bit. This is shelf paper, actually, and I used wallpaper on some of my stuff and scrapbooking paper, and I glued this on here, and it made it nice. Otherwise it's just plain white. And then each color I have a tag with the color written on there. I used Sharpie in whatever color it is. So, and I don't zip them closed, but Ziploc bags are sturdier, so they stand up pretty straight without, you know, sagging much. So I got pink. I put pink in front because my room is pink. I got some silver and gold paper. Rarely use that. And multicolored paper. People go that Roy, R-O-Y, whatever. I don't quite go by that. And I have some glitter paper. I cut it into, these were 12 by 12 sheets, and I cut them into strips and different shapes and stuff. I made some photo mats so that I would get it used up. I'm not going to buy any more glitter paper because it just sat for several years and I never used it. So I cut it up, and now it's getting used up. And then black and gray. And all I do is I just drop stuff in there. I think this needs to go in my black. No, that's too short. That's not 11 inches. So I just drop all of my scraps in there, both print and solid, of black and gray. Just drop them in there, and it's very easy to keep them organized. And I've been scrapbooking for 17 years, and I do a lot of scrapbooking. I just made the 305-6-page book. And this is all the scraps that I have, because I make it a rule to go through and use up these scraps. And I do. This is leftovers from when I did my craft room, just like 3-4 months ago, because I covered a lot of the boxes with rosy paper. It's a shabby chic room. So that's my regular scraps. And this is I cut apart all of my sticker pages, and I just glue them to a sheet of paper, just a speck, so I can peel it off and use it. But I got hearts and butterflies and tickets and just all kinds of embellishments in here. This is my blue bag. Well, and then I have like all of my Christmas stuff, and my Christmas scraps go in my books like this. I have several of these books for different themes, and so these are my Christmas scraps right here. And these are strips that I would use for Christmas. I could use this for every day, but somehow it ended up in there, and I'm going to leave it there. And I like to make tags. I made this tag, and these are just on here with a speck of glue, so I can pull it off and use it if I want to. And I glue my embellishments on here, and I just reach in there and pull out whatever I want. And I drop a lot of things in there too. I don't keep right on top of things. And I got Christmas words here. I actually have a book called Words, and I sort those by color. I cut up all of my sticker sheets And I got multicolor, black, brown, you know, every color. And these words, and I used to never use words because they're everywhere. I don't know what they have and what's gonna fit my project is gonna be at. So I just didn't use them, and now I really enjoy using my words. These are everyday words in my words book, not holiday or birthday or anything like that. So that's Christmas. I put everything in there, and I love to make tags. These I made a bunch of them baseball card size just to use up some stuff. And I love to make borders. This is 2 borders. I need to make some more borders because I love using them. And I just put a little speck of glue on the back and stick it in there so it doesn't move around. Here's some borders. Somebody gave me a bunch of 8.5 by 11 pre-made pages, and I stuck those in there so that I will see them and hopefully get them used up. I've used up a lot of them. Oh, and then I have a snowman section. Snow, winter, you know, snowman, ice skating, stuff like that. So I like to keep my stuff very, very organized. I've been caught up with my scrapbooking for 2 years. So in that time I've organized everything, and I really like that. So this is my bin with all of this is the blue embellishments that I showed you, and I have one for each. Here's how it works. And I just, when I get new stuff, I just drop stuff in there, and I save these because I'll show you what I do with them in a little bit. I use them on my tags and borders. So if I want to get some green, if I work with one color because it's just easier. Then I've got all this to look through if I want to make something, and so I just stick with one color. So what I do is I pull out the stacks and I just look through them like this, and I don't keep them in any particular order, and then I just pull off whatever I want to use. So I can just like pull this right off and use it. There's stickers and things that you glue on all mixed together here. So then I stack them neatly back up when I'm done. You got to be kind of careful with them. In my books I use page protectors, but for my everyday stuff I just stack them up and put them in these envelopes, in these Ziploc bags. And I've got the color tags on them too. So I got pink and multicolor, black, brown, you know, just every color's in here. And again, in one of those Dollar Tree baskets, and I cover that with, this is gift wrap. Rough it up and glue it on there. I used half and half Elmer's glue and water, and it's fine. And I've never used Mod Podge. I don't have any, but I think I want to buy some and try using that for some other projects. I think that would be better. I've never tried Mod Podge. So today I wanted to use some of these strips and make things. But I think I'm just going to do this video now and just show you some things. So when this box starts getting full, it's not really quite full, but I'm going to run out of space sooner or later. So I've cut all these strips out of scrap paper. I got these from work out of the trash. And these are 2 3/4 inches by 11 inches. And I use these as a base. And I use cereal boxes sometimes, or just anything, to make these. I can't get that in front of the camera because my stand is there and I got this big flap on the box. So same thing here. I've got these folded up things. I'll pull out purple. I usually end up with a lot of purple. But so those strips in that thing, I go through and I make all of these things. And I can use them like this, and sometimes I do. And I have several of every color, because I don't like to waste this stuff. So I choose one I like, and then I make borders like, I'll show you in a second. I like to put things away right away and keep things organized. So since I showed you purple, I'll show you this purple. Excuse me. So I've got the border with the strips like I made, and then I just use up my things. I always start with a subject, and then usually something bigger up here, and add some words and some decorations. So I've got that one, and that one, and that one, and I use these. I have made like 700 or 800 of these in the last few years, and I use them. I really enjoy them. And this is actually my backup supply because, let me put this back. This is my border book. I think I need to get me a bigger book. I do. I have like 4 pages of each color. I file them by color. These are the everyday, not holiday or birthday or anything. So I've got multicolor, and this book is full. So as I use some, I'll go through, and just last night I filled in all the empty spaces. This is my black section, my brown section. There's 3 borders glued onto just scrap 8.5 by 11 paper and put in page protectors. Just a little glue back here, and stick it on there, and I can reach in there and pull it off and use it. So this is what I do, and I really use these borders. I really love using borders on my, and I like to use up a lot of stuff on them. And I have this box that I keep these things in, and they're all sorted by color. I keep a little bit of sequins in there. Had a bunch of these foam stickers from when my daughter was little. I'm getting those used up. I'm just using up my stuff, and I just poke through there, and I like to buy and replace these things. This, and then I got a section of rhinestones. I save all of my rhinestones from old jewelry. Just have them in a bag. But I don't really use those on my scrapbook pages, but I've got them if I want them. And little silk flowers, and just all kinds of things. And I also like to use buttons. So I've collected, these are all flat buttons that will fit on a sticker or a border or a tag. I like to make tags too. So I've got them in Ziploc bags sorted by color. And then if I go to a crop, my room is all rosy, I can put all of these bags in here and take those to the crop with me. And then just put them back in here. And I hide my little bag underneath of there. I had a collection of a lot of these pretty boxes. Get them at the thrift shop and stuff that are covered in rosy paper. Rose is my theme for my craft room. And so, and I was never really using them. I just had them stacked up, but now I'm using them, and I really enjoy it. So when I get done here, I'm gonna make on video using these strips, making a bunch of these kind of border bases, I call them. So that's what I'm going to do after my next video, after I finish this. I will show you my tag book as well. And it's fat. And again, it's sorted by color, multicolor. And I love making Victorian things. And I make These are all store-bought, but I do make some embellishments sometimes. These are ready to go. I don't have these in my bag with my other things because those are ready to go. They're already fancied up. So those are some of my tags that I make, and I use these all the time as well. I really enjoy making these. I've got hundreds of these. These are embellishments. These smaller ones are embellishments. Mostly tags in here. I don't make a lot of embellishments. Just mostly tags. Here's a whole page of embellishments that I made. But I really do use these up, and I love to keep using up my scraps and making more. So my tags, I have this box. I save cereal boxes and stuff. Last night I made this stack out of cereal boxes. My favorite size is 3 by 5, but then there was some odd sizes. They wasn't enough to make them quite as tall or quite as wide, so I made these as well. And I have this pattern that I made, 3 by 5 tag, and then I use those to cut these. These are cereal boxes and calendars and the front and back page of scrapbooking pads, just all kinds of stuff. And then these are some smaller and odd sizes. This is my favorite. Then I had all of these squares. I put these in here just because I didn't know what else to do with them. I found some legal size paper, 2 pads of legal size paper in the trash at work, because apparently they don't use that size. Well, I don't use that size, but I brought them home and I cut them down to 8.5 by 11 so I can use them for printing and stuff. And then I cut down I ended up with tags, and then I had these left over, so I just stuck those in there. I'll use it for something, maybe, I don't know. Then I have all of these. I got these at a thrift shop or something. They're not, they're the exact same size as a 4 by 6 photo. So if you use it for a mat, it doesn't show. There's no overhang. So, but I try to use those for something. Then I've got this vellum paper. Here's this whole bit of it. Here's a few loose pieces that I can use. I don't use that much either, but I've got it if I want it. So I've got these. These are I call them my raw tags. And then I go through with my scraps in the plastic bags, and I cover them with paper. Here's my green stack. This I glued onto a green piece of paper and cut a little margin around it. This was just a scrap of paper. I cut that into tag size. I keep getting these strips of paper from the paper pads at the top, the little extra that you get. So I use those up. These are small scraps. And this is Kleenex box. And when I was doing my book, I looked through here several times for fairly blank tags, like maybe that one that's not too busy, that I could write on and you know, put some information in my book. But these are my tags that I will decorate. And then I've got several smaller tags. Some of these came as is, like this, and these are I've made covering with scrap paper. So I've got a section for each color: green, blue, purple, pink, red, orange, yellow, brown, black. Some of these black are pretty nice. Multicolor. And then I had a bunch of like these. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. I like to customize my things, and I printed these. I like to, I'll add some gemstones or something. I like to, you know, make it my own and customize it before it's ready to go. And I have these tags that I need to do something with. But I love my tags. Oh, and then I've got these pockets that I got from Scrapbooking for Less. I used one of them in my scrapbook, but for a brochure. But I cut the side open so that it'll fit in there because this was too small. But then the edge of the page protector was here, so that worked. So there's my decorated tags. And then I have this box. I call my subject box and my project life box. I don't do project life, but I like to use some of the cards as my subject for tags and borders. So we'll look through the red pink section. I'll give you an idea of the kinds of things I save in this box. These will look nice on a tag. This will look nice on a tag. These are like embellishment backgrounds I can use. And these are like Project Life. I do a lot of those, use a lot of those on my tags and borders. The bigger ones, those are more like embellishment backs. But I try to make something with these. I like to have note cards, fancy note cards that I can write on. Well, I just showed you my tag book, so this is how I start out with making my tags, using these things. And then I add my buttons and my flowers and silk flowers and things like that to them as well. So I'll put this back. I also have my photo mat box. This is a shoe box. Covered it with gift wrap, put a label on it, and I've got this card I made. That's my pattern. And I like to do this with my scraps. I'll just cover the edges of a white piece of paper, and then when you put your photo on, none of this white shows. But I like how those turn out. And then I have like these frames that you forget you have these frames and they never get used. So I keep those in the front of each color section, and I still don't use them much. So I got white, black and gray. See, here's a black one that I made. And then there's, solid black, brown. Here's an assortment of frames, smaller photo mat, assorted brown. So every color has its own section, and I can find exactly what I'm looking for quickly. And then I talked about that glitter paper. Here's one of my photo mats that I made, and I used like 2 or 3 glue dots rolled together on the back of a photo and force it into that glitter, because your basic glue stick is not going to work on that. They need a little extra oomph. So I got some red solid, every color. And so I keep all my frames and mats in this box. So that's kind of a tour of things I work on. I also have this little folder next to my box. I've got this that somebody gave me, and I need to use that up someday. I've got these. Not real sure what those are for. And then metallic accents, and framed. I thought that would make a nice frame. We made that with spirograph. I like the border on this. A square photo on that would look nice. I got these 4 corners. There's some larger frames. They don't fit in my box with my photo mats. And then I've got all these. I got a whole packet of these at a flea market for a pretty good price. So I've got those right next to my photo mats. So when I want to frame a picture, everything is right there. So I think that's about everything. I've got 3 file boxes of scrapbooking paper. One is the holidays, birthday, pets, things like that, the themed paper. And then I've got all my colored paper in a box. Red, yellow, pink, blue, blah, blah, blah. And then I have a box with the browns, the grays, the multicolors, and specialty papers like with birds on it that are kind of special but don't really belong in the section. And then I never use my letters. But I put all of my letters in a plastic bag, all assorted sizes. I bought a whole big pad of these in lots of colors. So I put those in page protectors. They're not all in page protectors. And then like, oh yeah, I got these. So every color. I got gold, silver, pocket, multicolor. I got a lot of multicolor. Black, brown, yellow. So these are all my letters. And another one of those Dollar Tree bins that I decorated with gift wrap. So I try to be very, very organized, and I really enjoy playing with my stuff. So I think that's long enough for this video if my battery hasn't run out. I think we're good. So I'm going to make another video of playing with my strips. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. I'm getting really close to 200. I've been on YouTube since December 2016, and this is August 2018. So a little over a year and a half. I got 190 subscribers. I need 10 more. So subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.